episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody. I am joined alongside special guest and good friend Adam Kinross from Kinny Games. And today we are hitting on the recap of Bears opening night on national television. Another loss for Matt Nagy's squad, 34-14 against the L.A. Rams in L.A. Andy Dalton did not do bad, in my opinion. Adam's got other things to say about it. Justin Fields played, did well, scored a touchdown, looked awesome. The future is very bright. And Matt Nagy called Matt Nagy plays, and that is why the team did not succeed. The defense, yikes. We're going to jump into it. But before we dive into it, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Stupid Car Tray.
Tired of your pizza topping sliding, office coffee distracting you while driving, grease and other stains getting on your seat, or you're just enjoying a game on the couch and don't want to lean over? Look no further than the Stupid Car Tray. Proudly USA made, Stupid Car Tray makes your passenger seat or couch a level surface for all transportation and couch potato needs. Visit www.stupidcartray.com and use discount code J16 to get 16% off your entire order. Link in the description.
Stupid Car Tray is one of the positives that came out of today. Keep a deep dish pizza flat and my seats grease-free while driving back from Lou Malnati's. I ate an entire large Lou Malnati classic pizza to myself. I feel horrible. Nothing made it worse than this Bears loss. Adam, welcome back to the show. I know that you are not a lonely Bears fan out on the West Coast. I know you're out in Denver and just, we were texting during the game. This is a very unexpected episode, but Adam, welcome to the show. Happy to have you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Happy to be back.
And you're wearing an absolutely disgusting jersey after tonight. Just have to start that off after the podcast. As some of you may not know, that is Eddie Jackson's old number. It's still an Eddie Jackson jersey. Absolutely horrible performance by him. Let's go into the overview real fast. Bears lose 34-14 on national television. Sunday Night Football in LA at SoFi Stadium. Bears opened up the game looking promising. Had a red zone interception on the opening drive. What a disaster. The defense looked horrible, especially the secondary. Cough, cough, Eddie Jackson. And Justin Fields scored his first career touchdown. It was a rushing touchdown. Awesome. Officiating was trash. Adam, how are you feeling right now about the Chicago Bears game? Before we dive into it.
Generally speaking, if I had to wrap it up, I would say I'm pretty pissed off, but also not surprised. But yeah. I do think there were some positives, so I'm not going to sit here and just like completely bitch the whole time, but most of it was very, very ugly. And like from everything from play calling to the execution to the lack of tackling in secondary and Eddie Jackson. Oh my God, 4 years, $58 million. We'll get there, but oh my God.
So there are positives that came out of this game. There is no doubt about it. David Montgomery looked fantastic tonight. Andy Dalton even looked pretty good, considering the play calls he was given as the quarterback. The offensive line did a lot better than expected. But then you hit on the defense. And for once in our lifetimes, Adam, the offense was the positive side of the Chicago Bears.
I mean, it's happened before, right? Jay Cutler. There were times when it was like 1 or 2 years, but it's happened before. It's rare, though. So I get the point that you're saying. I mean, there were positives, right? Like I liked the game plan going in, knowing that we weren't going to be able to stop Aaron Donald and Dalton was going to have to get the ball out quick, right? Like I liked mixing in Justin Fields, not only to get him snaps against a real defense, a real defensive line, and an incredible secondary in the L.A. Rams. But at the same time, like it's just still so frustrating to watch these same offensive plays that we watched all last year. These just bullshit, like end around screens that you're running backs for no reason, wide receivers that are lining up in the backfield for no reason. Like I thought Goodwin played really well. I thought he had some great plays. Like I liked the general game plan and I wouldn't complain about that, but there was a lot of times where the individual play calling did not make any sense to me.
I 1000% agree. So speaking of play calling, let's just jump into the offensive side of the ball right now instead of overview. So Andy Dalton played quarterback for the Chicago Bears today. He started for the Chicago Bears with a mix of Justin Fields. And in my opinion, I know we were going back and forth about it a little bit earlier. I thought he played fine. He didn't play great. He didn't play bad. He played fine. Andy Dalton quieted some of the haters tonight with very accurate throws. But the thing is, like you were saying, the play calling was mediocre. Andy Dalton went 27 for 38 with 206 yards and 1 interception. Why did he go 206 yards on 27 pass completions? Because they were all these little routes that Matt Nagy is comfortable with throwing. And Adam, when you're playing Madden, sure, in a simulated game and all that, and not, well, when you're playing against top talent, but in Madden, that might work. But in the NFL, it's not going to work. And Matt Nagy's been running the same offense for the last 2 years out of his this is his 4th year as a Chicago Bears head coach. So 206 yards on 27 passes is subpar, but they were all accurate. They made it to the wide receivers from what I saw, but there was no deep balls at all tonight. There was one, and it was only because Andy Dalton was under complete pressure, threw it up, ended up going out of bounds. There were nice throws tonight, and those were positives for the Chicago Bears. But Adam, when you're watching Andy Dalton, what was your opinion on his play tonight?
I thought he started off shakier than he finished. I thought his second and third quarters were phenomenal. Actually, I thought he played extremely well in the second and third quarter. His first quarter started off a little rough. I guess it's to be expected, right? Like new season, new team, new offense, guys new to the squad. So I get it. But fourth quarter, he was missing a couple passes, like completely short. Pass protection was really, really rough. And we'll get into the run blocking in a second here, which was leagues better, but pass protection was really rough. But they had to get the ball out quickly, and I respect that they had to get the ball out quickly because they knew they were not going to out scheme offensively Aaron Donald. So you plan around that, right? There's other ways to plan around that than what they did, but they got the ball out quick, and I'm okay with that. The problem is when you never stretch the field, defense keeps creeping up and up and up, despite the fact that the Rams were in a too high safety look the entire night, which dramatically helped our run game, and we took advantage. And I love that, man. Run the damn ball. Like I love that. But when you can't stretch the field at all, especially with the deep threat that's been touted so heavily in Darnell Mooney and Goodwin not stretching the field at all, using that speed that is the reason we signed him for, like, he's our Mecole Hardman, right? Like I'm not going to compare him to Tyreek Hill because that's just absurd. But like he's our Mecole Hardman. Like he's the guy that's supposed to stretch the field, even if he's not a great route runner, right? But like we're not doing that at all. We're not forcing Jalen Ramsey to take 10 steps back, or they're too high safety look to take 10 steps back. And when you do that, we're just going to keep checking down the entire time. I just want to say real quick, I didn't hate Dalton's performance. I was very down on it at first, but that interception in the first quarter in the red zone was horrifically bad. I mean, he looked like Justin Fields should have looked like in his first snap in the NFL, not knowing how to read a defense. He got faked out by a linebacker that took one step inside and then completely tipped that ball. So people can say like it's a BS interception, someone tipped it. There is under no circumstance he should have made that pass at all. That was the blatantly wrong read, and that really rubbed me the wrong way. So that's why I got really down. That's why I texted you. I was like, I am so done with Andy Dalton. He bounced back dramatically, and I'll give him props for that. I think he ended up playing a halfway decent game, but I also want to say, like, it's halfway decent. Like, could Mitch have done this? Yeah, Mitch could have done this. Like, could Nick Foles have done this? Yeah, Nick Foles could have done this. Like, what is so special about what Andy Dalton did tonight? Nothing. There's nothing special. And to me, as a Bears fan, that's just so desperate for a quarterback. I think that's kind of the moral of tonight is there's nothing special about what he did.
So I agree with some of the things that you're saying. Could they have done it? Absolutely. There is no doubt about that. But at the same time, Andy Dalton was firing passes much better than I ever saw Nick Foles fire passes in this offense, much better than Mitch. Mitch was so inaccurate at points. Andy Dalton was pretty accurate tonight. I mean, I know that he missed 11 of those passes, but he was under, like you said.
A few of them bounced off the ground, man, like late in the game.
Late in the game, I understand, but he was under the more pressure later in the game. Like you said, his second and third quarter were great. That was but then later in the game, you lose Jason Peters. Then you lose Larry Borum. You have Elijah Wilkinson out there. Your third string tackle is out there in the third quarter of the game. Things started to decline for Andy Dalton, and there was nothing he could do. And when you're running the same slant over and over and over, guess what's going to pick on it? Guys like Jalen Ramsey, who Jalen Ramsey was by far the defensive MVP of the L.A. Rams tonight. It wasn't Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was very quiet, and they even talked about it. Him and Khalil Mack were equally quiet till about the fourth quarter when everyone was gassed, and then Donald finally got a sack on Andy Dalton. But other than that, they were respectfully quiet for the type of player that they're expected to be. Jalen Ramsey did great tonight. He was everywhere all over the field.
Dalton had a few good evasions too. He got out of 2 sacks where at 2 points, Aaron Donald had 2 hands on him, which is very impressive. Like, that doesn't happen. So credit where credit's due. Both of those times he evaded sacks from Aaron Donald is very impressive.
And Andy Dalton's got wheels, low key. I mean, like that one run that he had, I think it was for like 12 yards. He was booking. I mean, he was running for his life.
I'd say he's sneaky fast.
He's sneaky fast. So let's go into a guy that's actually legitimately fast. Justin Fields. He went 2 for 2 tonight with 10 passing yards, but he had a rushing touchdown. Justin Fields I like what they did in regards to the play packages, because you could see in the eyes of Sean McVay that he was like, oh crap, what are they going to do? Like, actually, Matt Nagy's going to trick me right here. Like, I'm not expecting like what's going to happen. And then of course it's a shovel pass, or it's just a short slant pass. It was what Matt Nagy, the Bears are who we thought they were. I'm going to go with that with Matt Nagy. Exactly. But Justin Fields ripping it up the field, scoring that touchdown was electric. It was awesome. I think that he did a great job. And shout out to Andy Dalton, going back to him real fast. Right after Justin Fields scored, who's running up to Justin Fields with the biggest smile on their face on the sideline? Andy Dalton. Hats off to him. That's a leader.
Yeah,
that's something
awesome.
that the Bears haven't had, and at least on the offensive side of the ball. I really, honestly, there's no leader on the defensive side of the ball right now. We're going to get into defense in a second. But like overall, Justin Fields, it was super exciting. Got his first career. He's going to get more playing time, folks. There's no doubt about it. I think that they're putting him in, but he did fine tonight for what they asked him for. But fans going, Dalton should be out. Dalton should do this. You can only blame Andy Dalton so much when Matt Nagy is calling the plays for the Chicago Bears. I really think that that's what made the performance worse. And also, why didn't they give, Justin Fields a deep ball throw? Why did they not give him this? Because they wanted to limit him overall. I mean, Adam, did you like what you saw out of Justin Fields? Was it what was expected? Did you want to see more?
Of course, I love.
Well, everyone wants to see more. Everyone wants to see more.
I mean, everyone wants to see more. Look, I think Justin needs some time to warm up to the NFL. I mean, he's still the slowest snap to pass quarterback in the NFL, and he continued that through the preseason. The guy has got to get the ball out quicker, or he is going to get absolutely demolished by people like Aaron Donald and hell, even Robert Quinn in a defense like this, or not Robert Quinn. I'm sorry, Leonard Floyd. He's gonna get demolished, right? Like, you need to get rid of the ball quicker. But I love the fact they worked him in, even if it's for only a couple snaps, just to get the snaps, right? Like, preseason is a different animal. It's a different animal, and you don't really understand game speed. When he said like game speed was slow, and then he kind of retracted that and said, "Oh, I didn't mean to be cocky when I was saying that," but like, I think he's just being confident, right? Like, he feels really good about it, but the NFL is a different monster, man. So like, I really, really, really liked that they had sets and plays built out specifically for him. I think I love that they used him in the red zone, which is an area where the Bears specifically have struggled horribly. Even in 2018, they struggled in the red zone. One of their best years under Matt Nagy, their best year under Matt Nagy. They struggled in the red zone, and since then they've been abysmal. So the fact that they're mixing him in is fantastic. Of course, I want to see more. I know it's going to come in due time. Again, I don't think Dalton is just like so that you want to take him out, right? But like, I do love that Justin Fields is at least getting some snaps now, because when he does come in sometime, which is going to happen, even Dalton knows that, he's going to have some snaps under his belt. It's going to be a different experience. He's going to be throwing the ball more, but at least he'll have the experience of playing some NFL snaps, especially against guys like Aaron Donald.
So the jitters are out for some of the jitters are out for Justin Fields. And I agree with that. You go against the best guy in the NFL on the defensive line side of the ball, and Aaron Donald, and, you don't get sacked by him. That's a plus for anybody that day. And, he'll take that every day of the week and twice on Sundays. But let's go to the MVP of the Chicago Bears offense today. David Montgomery, no doubt about it. 16 carries, 108 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. He was an absolute beast tonight against a very questionable offensive line. And like you said earlier, the Bears running offensive line is played pretty well tonight. They did well. They made holes for Damian Williams and David Montgomery, but David Montgomery was bouncing off guys. There was a play where he bounced off Aaron Donald when he was going to be tackled for 3 yards loss, and he ended up getting 5 yards. David Montgomery did what he had to do tonight in order to keep this team in it. And yes, great job, Matt Nagy. You ran the damn ball, as Adam's hat says. You did a good job. Wonderful. But guess what? You can't run the ball every single goddamn time, because then it is a high school offense. So shout out to David Montgomery for actually carrying this team tonight, no pun intended. And he did pretty well as a dual threat. So overall, I'm happy with David Montgomery. Adam, I'm going to go into the wide receivers and tight end before we talk about the weapons for this team. But Allen Robinson looked pretty good. Mooney never got
I disagree. I thought Allen Robinson looked terrible. He had 3 drops tonight. This guy is touted as he's franchise tagged, right? So he's paid as one of the best receivers in the NFL, and he had 3 drops tonight. One of them on a fairly crucial 4th down. And you can say Jalen Ramsey did what Jalen Ramsey does, covering him and knocking the ball, whatever it is. Allen Robinson is paid as a possession receiver to make reliable catches when you need him to make a catch. And I don't think he did that tonight. To me, he was not the Allen Robinson we need him to be.
So, and the reason why I'm saying he did well is because, yes, you're correct. He had 3 drops tonight. That one was bad. But then his other drop was a clear pass interference call in the first quarter.
Oh, that was so bad.
Yeah, that was another drop and a considered drop. And it was clearly a flag. And even the broadcasters were like, that was definitely a pass interference call. So then, yes, he had another drop, but there were some really nice plays where he, Andy Dalton put right in the breadbasket for him, but he was able to make plays for himself, get around. I think Goodwin was the best wide receiver for the Bears tonight. And then tight end wise, Cole Kmet was an absolute beast. He was running over guys. He didn't look like a sophomore. He looked like a senior in high school in regard. He looked like a 4-year guy, looked really good. Jimmy Graham did well. Obviously he only had 2 catches tonight, but one of them was really nice, and he could have fought to get into the end zone, but it took 5 guys to finally stop him. So overall, the wide receiver, the targets were not the issue tonight, in my opinion, for what happened. It was the offensive line. But before we get into the offensive, before we get into the offensive line, what did you think about the overall targets of the offense?
As in, like, who they're throwing to receiver wise, like
running wide receiver. I mean, like Damian Williams even did pretty well.
So first, I wanted to tout Mustapher, Daniels, and Whitehair. I was like, oh my God, this offensive line, like, their run blocking, so good. This is amazing. Pass blocking was not good. That's why they had to get the ball out so fast. So I just want to make that very clear. Let's talk about run blocking for a second. But then I realized that David Montgomery is getting hit in the backfield and doing what Montgomery does, breaking tackles and turning literally negative plays into positive 4, 5, 6 yard gains. Then he's got the big playability, right? Like, this is something that we only saw a couple times from him, like last year. One was against the Texans, I remember specifically. But we didn't really see like a big play factor from Montgomery last year. Only a couple times. Tonight, we saw it more than a couple times.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that he's getting hit in the backfield and turning these negative plays into positive plays. You can't ask for more out of your running back. Phenomenal, David Montgomery. He's my favorite Bear right now. I absolutely love this guy. And I do think Mustapher, Daniels, and Whitehair in the middle did a great job. There were a few plays where Montgomery had to be Montgomery, but generally speaking, the run blocking on the offensive line was fantastic. Pass blocking, not so much. It stinks. Like, I have on my list, like, good, bad, and ugly. I have one of our bads as our injuries, right? And like the fact that we're on a 3rd string tackle at this point. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's brought this up, but did we not scout Tevin Jenkins properly? Did this injury exist before? So why? I'm sorry, because this is the first that I'm hearing that's like verified. So that's true. Before it was like, I didn't know. That pisses me the hell off. Like, why are we not blaming Ryan Pace for either not knowing about that or being too stupid to realize that is a huge issue that's going to knock him out for an entire year? That's a serious thing. Like, what are we doing?
So let me I agree with you. There is no doubt about that. And I didn't learn that either until after we drafted Jenkins. And then all of a sudden these back injuries became known because he wasn't practicing. It's the fact that Jenkins has hype videos of pancaking guys in college, and he's a badass guy that has a bad attitude on the field that wants to beat people
up.
Like
the kid. I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming Ryan Pace. Did he just ignore it? Did he not know? Like,
he took a gamble, and he was like, you know what? I think someone's going to take him, kind of like what happened with Mitch. It was another Mitch situation, but with a lineman. He got scared someone was going to take him, but no one was taking Jenkins because of these back injuries. That's
why.
And
so was this ignorance or arrogance from Ryan Pace?
Can you do both?
If anyone can, it would be
It'd be Ryan
Pace,
Pace,
right? Like,
and I think the problem is with Bears fans is that we only look obviously for the good. Like you already said yourself tonight. I'm going to go to Justin Fields real fast. Is that Justin Fields has things he has to work on, but everyone's like, throw Fields in there. We would have been totally fine. We would have won that game if Justin Fields was in. No, we wouldn't have. We would not have won that game. Yeah, it drives me nuts. And then the Jenkins thing, people were so excited because he's a badass guy and he likes to pancake people and all this other stuff. There was hype made around him from the fan base, but no one was talking about just what you said, is the fact that he has back injuries galore. And this is a big issue for a big man, obviously.
There's a guy named John Gruden who I disagree with on a lot of things. One thing I do agree with him is that he says your best ability in the game of football is your availability. And the fact that we literally, I mean, what is Tevin Jenkins to us right now? I love the kid. I can't wait to see him play. But right now, I mean, what the hell are we doing? Like I said, ignorance or arrogance. It was one of the two or both for Ryan Pace. And no one's talking about that, which really bothers me because he either knew about these issues and he drafted him anyways like a moron, or he didn't know about the issues and he's even dumber because he didn't know about the issues and he doesn't know how to scout. So I think that really bothers me. We're getting away from the point of the game tonight. So I want to let you get back to that.
No, yeah, let's get back to it. Let's bring it back real fast. So you already hit on great run blocking tonight by this offensive line. And again, James Daniels did not play more than half of the season last year due to an injury. So, and then Whitehair back at guard looked fantastic. If you looked, he was the 3rd ranked guard in the NFL. So you can't blame that. And then Mustapher looked great. But then
surprisingly,
Jason Peters struggled at first. There was no doubt about it. And then the dude kicked back into the vintage mode. He was beating guys up, defending his quarterback, doing what he had to do. And then, of course, the injury bug got him. You put Larry Borman, who a lot of people talk very highly of, the same exact similar injury. Back leg, hyperextended his knee, it looked like, out for the rest of the game. That one stinks. So overall, this line is already performing better than last year, in my opinion, in regards to run blocking. They did their job. But pass blocking, there's a lot of question marks for the Chicago Bears right now. And Eric Schwartz is off of free agency now. We can't go get him. And I believe Eric Schwartz is a guard and tackle. He can play either or. And yes, he's had injuries too, but these injuries were not caused by age. They were also not caused by the fact of previous injuries. These happen because of freak accidents of 300-pound defensive linemen landing on the back of their knees. Overall, I think the offensive line did average tonight. Adam, you could say the same because, the run blocking evens out the pass blocking. So let's move into the defensive side of the ball real fast, just so we get clarity to that. And then we're going to give final thoughts on Matt Nagy. Defensive side, Eddie Jackson sucks. I can't defend him anymore. I know London couldn't even defend him anymore. Like London called him, he's going to be MVP of the defense this year. That was pathetic. He is overpaid and he got super confident after he got the bag and he's fumbling the bag. He's not fumbling footballs. He's fumbling the bag. And it is embarrassing for how much confidence he has on the NFL field. Exactly. To act like Jalen Ramsey when you are getting cooked every play. And when there's a tackle, Eddie Jackson just kind of runs by it. He just kind of runs by it and like pulls his mouth guard out and is like, oh yeah, let's get him next play. No, shut up and go get the ball. Like that is what we pay you to do. That is what you were in Chicago for. You're wearing his jersey, Adam. I just, you can hit the button again before you talk. But
this dude is one of my favorite players for so long. Because he's been so versatile, right? Like he had 1 year where he was the best safety in football. 2018, he was the hands down. PFF graded him as the best safety in football, and he deserved it. I mean, how many takeaways, how many pick sixes? Like he was so good everywhere on the field. And I don't know, that might have just been a product of Vic. I don't know what has happened in the last couple of years. I blamed Pagano last year. I was like, he wasn't used correctly. Let's let Eddie be Eddie. Let's let Eddie roam. Eddie got a chance to roam tonight, and Eddie roamed in all the wrong places. I mean, absolute dog shit, absolute dog shit. It was so embarrassing to have a too high look and get beat over the top. Matthew Stafford was surprised at how open Cooper Kupp was. How fucking embarrassing as a free safety to get beat on a too high look by like 30 fucking yards. How embarrassing, man. Like, that is your job to not get beat that bad. And he got beat not once, but twice. And then we have Van Jefferson going down and no one wants to touch him. What are we doing? Like, I don't know if you blame the coaching. I don't know if you blame the players. I don't know if you blamed it like how prepared they were or weren't. That is the most embarrassing shit I have ever seen. This man should have been down at the 10-yard line, and you know how tough it is to score in the NFL in the red zone, especially with the Bears linebacker core. It's not easy to just run the ball into the end zone. We could have made a stop. We could have held him to 3. We could have kept the game close. Instead, they just say, Van Jefferson, man, great catch, great roll. You have it, man. Be on your way. Highway passage right along here. I'll escort you, man. Fucking police escort right by me. How embarrassing, man. I'm so sick of getting embarrassed as a Chicago Bears fan on prime time. And Eddie Jackson epitomized that nonsense tonight with his ridiculously bad play. The man can't tackle. The man can't cover. The man can't protect the deep ball. What the fuck can you do for 4 years and $58 million? What are you worth to us? As one of my favorite players, as a person that I'm wearing his jersey right now, I was extremely disappointed tonight because he's supposed to be a leader. I think you said it earlier when we were talking. You said, who's the leader on the defense?
No one.
Right now, I got nothing,
Roquan
man. I mean,
Smith, maybe. Roquan Smith.
I mean, he's the guy,
maybe.
right? Like, he's one of the best. He's our young guy. He's our Fred Warner. He's our he's our up-and-comer. He was a little... I'm not going to say he was non-existent tonight. He played well, not amazing, but Khalil Mack was a little iffy tonight too. I mean, I want Khalil Mack of old back, man. Like, people, I just don't think people fear him as much anymore. But as you can see from my temperament, Eddie Jackson really disappoints me.
I think you hit on the secondary as a whole. Gibson Sr. was the only positive side of the
We knew it was going to be an issue, right? Like, this is something we knew was going to be an issue. I didn't think it was going to be this bad.
Jalen Johnson did okay, too. He had a pass deflection. That was a pretty sick pass deflection. But, like, overall, they just kept throwing to Eddie because guess what Eddie was doing?
Nothing.
Hit it.
Dog shit.
That's what he was doing tonight. So, and you also hit it very well, just quickly. The defensive front had 1 sack tonight. Absolutely embarrassing against Matthew Stafford. And sure, the Rams have a decent offensive line. But when you have guys that are worth quarterback money on your defensive side of the ball, Robert Quinn, you suck.
Oh, my God.
Suck so bad.
Dog shit.
Just keep hitting it for me. That's all I got to say. Because I am so sick of the fact that Robert Quinn always seems to have some sort of injury. And I hope he gets better. But the fact that he is out there anyway with these injuries, don't play if you're hurt. Travis Gibson is a hungry young guy who wants to be on the field and get after it. He showed that in preseason. I talked poorly about him at the beginning. But Robert Quinn, if you're not going to do anything, sit on the sideline, get your $15 million. And
5 years, $70 million, dude.
Unbelievable. Hicks got a sack. Hicks looked good tonight.
Human bear, bro. He is a vulture. He is so good.
Roquan Smith played well tonight. And the last thing I'm going to say is Ogletree, you are not a good football player right now in my eyes. And I like Alec Ogletree. But what he did to get that unsportsmanlike taunting, just don't talk to the man. Just
speaks
get over
to leadership. It speaks to leadership.
Yes.
Like I know Eddie Jackson got into it with him after that. But like, it speaks to the lack of leadership that that happens with a guy in his first game with the Bears. He pulls that shit and that's the response we get. So it's
unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And also I defended Alec Ogletree all preseason. I thought he should start over Trevathan. And right now I would say the same. Ogletree played fine tonight. He was all over the field. He was making plays. But you do that and you give up 15 yards in a crucial drive. Unbelievable. Going to crucial drives, 2 minutes on Matt Nagy, because I'm sick of this. Timeouts galore. You call timeouts any single time you panic as a play caller. Don't call plays then. Call Bill Lazor. Bill Lazor is a much better offensive coordinator. Matt Nagy should be fired after this game. National television embarrassment. I was so close to being a Matt Nagy guy again. I was so close.
Dog shit.
Absolutely. I cannot stand Matt Nagy. After tonight, as a Bears fan, and it's only week 1. This is going to be a very long season with Matt Nagy. And if the Bears make the playoffs and whatever, don't expect much. Matt Nagy, and London said it, put all his eggs in one basket with everything with the Chicago Bears calling plays this year. Honestly, I hope all those eggs fucking crack. I hope they become scrambled eggs because Matt Nagy is
dog shit.
I cannot stand him. Bring back the visor if it helps you at all, but get off the field. I would rather have Bill Lazor as head coach right now. I really would. Because
Nagy's just clueless, man.
He has no idea what's going on. BU doesn't work, Nagy. I cannot stand Matt Nagy. I really can't. I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry. Every Bears fan feels the same way.
Not just Bears fans, man. I follow a lot of guys that I've met through Madden that are Saints fans and Colts fans and all these guys. And all I saw, the common theme was, how does Matt Nagy still have a job? And I'm sitting here thinking, I have been bitching about this for the last 3 years. Okay. Like, we're going to, like, 2018, great year, man. But like the
that was Vic's team. That was Vic's team.
It's it's very frustrating. Like, I don't know what he's done to prove his spot of that he belongs where they had like 3 good offensive games last year, and those were the games that Bill Lazor was calling plays. And then Matt Nagy took it back over and they lost in the playoffs. So it's like
when you have 25 points in 2 career playoff games and you're a football guru, offensive guru, you're a disgrace.
When I see stats that are like Matt Nagy has like the 2nd most wins in the NFC in his first 4 years, I don't know what the exact stats are. I see tweets all the time about how great Matt Nagy is and how the Bears have been competitive. That's essentially the summary of these tweets, right? How many playoff games have the Bears won? Okay. How many? Fucking 0. They've won 0 playoff games, man. That's all that matters in the NFL. I don't care how many you can win 17 regular season. Well, you get a bye. Let's say you win 15 regular season games. You have to play your first playoff game and you lose. I don't give a shit that you won 15. You're a terrible coach if you lose in that first playoff game. And it's so.
Matt Nagy makes players worse. Matt Nagy makes players worse. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. And I don't know if this is the Miller Lite talking. But when I went to that Bills Bears, and this is my last comment of the night. Cheers. During that Bills-Bears game, yes, it was preseason. Mitch looked like a legitimate quarterback against the Bears. Why? Because Matt Nagy made him a worse player. Matt Nagy has no idea what he is doing. He is lucky he worked under Andy Reid, because anyone else that he would have worked under, I don't think Matt Nagy would have made it past being a trainer.
I think a perfect example of this is the fact that the Rams for the last 3 years were an outside team, and they would work the play action. They would work the boot. That's what made their passing offense through Jared Goff, was that outside zone run scheme. Tonight, you didn't see that. Collinsworth said that several times. He's like, I'm very surprised. We're not seeing the outside zone run scheme. We're not seeing the bootlegs. We're not seeing the rollout. I wonder why. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, because Sean McVay knows what Stafford's good at. Sean McVay knows what his team can do, what his quarterback can do, and he schemes around them. Matt Nagy says, here's what I want to do. You guys better figure it out. That is the key difference, okay? And then Pace is like, okay, we'll try to pick up this guy, and we'll try to add that piece. And I guess we can't afford Kyle Fuller anymore. Secondary, that's not important. Okay, but we'll pick up Goodwin and Dalton and all these guys. And here, Nagy, can you make this work? And Nagy's like, well, here's my scheme, but let's see if they can make it work around my scheme. That's the difference, right? McVay schemes to his players. Nagy schemes to himself. That's the problem in my eyes as a Bears fan. And I'm sure everyone in the comments of this video will have 1,000 different opinions, but
I can't wait. I can't wait because of the fact I think we can all agree on something. I know that there's going to be Andy Dalton versus Field comments in here, but the one thing I think every Bears fan in the entire planet and universe can agree on is Matt Nagy is not going to help this team.
And Eddie Jackson is
dog shit.
Love it. With that, Adam, thank you as always for joining on Late Night Podcast. I love it. I'm very happy that you came on. We'll have to do this again soon, but thank you very much for coming on tonight. Really appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me and letting me vent. And I mean, guys, I love the Bears.
We love the Bears.
Love the Bears. I mean, they're like a part of my life, like a part of my being. And that's why I get so upset over this kind of crap. So,
and I think everyone in my comment section and your comment section can all agree to that. So that's it. I'm not doing one tomorrow. I'm posting this right after I'm done editing this later tonight. You guys can listen on your way to work. Hope your coffee tasted good. Coffee always tastes better with a Monday Bears win. You're not going to get that with Matt Nagy as your head coach. I'm sorry. That's just what's going to happen. So with that, thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody, joined alongside Adam Kimross, a.k.a. Kinny Games. Go check him out. His page is in the description, so make sure you go and watch. And we will see you guys next time.